All right, here we go. How to tape your hands. Let's do it. All right.
Okay, so
They're not used to,
your enthusiasm.
Personality extraordinaire here. All right. They know the real me. Okay, go ahead.
I spent like 100 years as a gymnast, and gymnasts tear up their hands more than anybody else in the world. So you learn how to tape your hands. So you've probably seen on the blog post about how to tape your how to have somebody else tape your hands, and that's great. But a lot of times you're training by yourself. You can't have somebody help you. So I came up with, actually I didn't, one of our training partners, Jonathan Palmer, came up with this idea, how to tape your own hands. It works great. It's actually better than the straightforward taping because it's on a diagonal. So
the straightforward taping goes straight from your wrist down around your finger and straight back. That's the straightforward type of taping.
Right, it almost makes it like a gymnastics grip.
So what you didn't notice is that that this type of tape tears in half lengthwise. All right, so it tears really well. So you can start a tear in the middle and tear it lengthwise.
So you only want about an inch width on it. If it's too wide, it's not going to work.
You don't want a super wide tape.
Right. Okay. So first thing you do is you tear it. How long? It's kind of you got to learn how to do it. I usually bring it about a little wider, my hips, but you'll learn as you go. So you take it, put it over here. So
I could help that for you.
Okay. So what you do is you put it on the opposite side of your wrist. You bring it up. So say I'm going to tape this middle pad, and this is the tricky part. So you put it down there, and you want it nice and flat. Then you loop it around this finger, and this is also tricky where you get it flat. And then you bring this down, and you bring it around. And you can see that's on an X. Okay, so
yeah. Okay, I just wanted to point out that the tape has to be flat.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be flat. There can't be any curl because it's just it's just a disaster waiting to happen.
Right.
So it's better to take your time and really get these pieces flat.
Right. So you see that doesn't come all the way. So it could have been a little longer, but it doesn't really matter because we're going to have an anchor piece on that. So again, do it again because usually I take 2 stripes around, and you can do this. You want to hold that? Okay. You can do this for each pad. Okay. So again, you start on the back, you anchor it there, you bring it behind the back, up, between the fingers, and this is a good time to really cinch it down, loop it around, lay it flat. You can see I got a little messy there. But you can still, right there. And you can see this one's a little bit longer. And again, this is going to get anchored around the wrist afterwards, so it's not a big deal. And again, because this is on an X, when the bell is pulling, it doesn't create the slack and the gap that you get with the regular taping. And then,
super secret knowledge right here.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
You get to hold the tape finally. Okay, and then you just anchor it, just enough to there to keep it secure. Perfect. Tape right over it. This will last. I mean, you could take the anchor off and tape them off, but I would retape it each time. And this gives you a lot of coverage. So you could do it again on the second pad, wherever you're going to tear, where you have thickness that you don't want to expose to too much stress. Mm-hmm. Do it there. See, it's down behind. Easy peasy.
So the greatest thing about the Johnson & Johnson tape is it tears easy.
Right.
It has just the right adhesive. Mm-hmm. But mostly it tears easy. It's easy to.
Well, no, it's the real magic to the tape. Besides it tears easy, is that it's porous. So if it's not porous, and I'm going to go over this real quick because you might as well while we're doing this. If you tear, the only thing worse than a tear, tears easy except this piece. There you go. The only thing worse than a tear is a crack in the tear. So if you tear a callus, you cut it all the way off. We'll do this on another one with a tear. You cut the dead skin off, you wash it and dry it. But then, say I tore this thumb pad here. After you clean it up, tear's easy.
Wow.
You gotta tear it the right way. You put this on the open tear. like that.
Yeah, we're gonna go over this, because this
Right.
is really important, and it's best
Hey,
kind
Joe.
of, yeah, it needs a little bit more
I know,
detail,
I'm just
yeah.
saying, but if you have a tear, we'll go over it. But for now, if you do happen to tear, clean it up, dry it up.
Clean it up means you have to get rid of the skin that is not attached
Right,
to
all
your
the dead
body
skin.
anymore. So if a blister raises up and it's got that skin over it, you have to remove the skin, which is counterintuitive because it's going to open up raw skin, right?
Right.
So we want the tape actually on the raw skin.
And the thing is, you leave it there 24/7. If it gets wet or dirty, just switch it. But what happens, because this tape has porous holes, it's cloth, it lets air in, just enough to dry it out slowly, but it covers it to keep it moist enough so that it doesn't crack, because the crack is way worse than the tear. So a little bit of porosity there, it lets air in, you get coverage, it keeps it moist enough to heal, but doesn't crack. So we'll go over that in detail, but that's
Yeah.
the main thing we're looking at.
That's the
You
main
see what
thing.
it looks like, good to go.
Awesome.
All
Thanks,
right,
Tony.
all right, Hank.